Hello, this is Pete, or Kenshin1913, along with
Mom.
And this is another Cooking with Kenshin1913. What are we making today?
Today we're going to do an overnight French toast.
What are we starting with, Ma?
Okay, so our ingredients are some type of bread, and I'll explain that you can use all different types of bread if you want. We have eggs, we have sugar, we have half and half creamer, plain. You can add some milk to this if you choose to. Cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla, maple syrup, brown sugar, a little bit of butter, and this is more of our bread.
Right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to get our bread ready, and then we'll make our mixture to dunk it in. I found dunking it is better. When I first started making this recipe, I just took the mixture when my bread was in the pan and kind of poured it over, hopefully making sure that each bread was had some liquid on it. But I found that dipping it first and then using the excess to pour over works much better.
So yeah, we're using like a hearty type of ciabatta type roll.
Yep. If it's several days old, it's better because you want it kind of dry, a little bit more on the dried out. You don't want it really nice and soft like a lot of people like their bread, because then your French toast just becomes mushy. So I'm just going to take off the very little ends here, and when you're slicing, you're going to try to slice it about the same width for all of them,
right? So
that you won't have thick ones and real thin ones.
So how many loaves of bread do you think you gotta use?
Well, I used about 6, I think, of these. It may be too much if we're just doing one pan, but you could always make extra and freeze it.
Yeah.
So that's going to be that for our bread, and we have more on the side here. Okay, so we're going to make our liquid mixture. We're using a tin pan, but you can use a glass casserole dish as well. I'm actually I'm kind of judging because I have a lot of bread here. So I'm going to use 3 eggs. The nice thing about this is you could start off smaller, see how far you get, and you could always make more mixture.
Right. We're pretty much making sort of a custard, you know, eggs, milk, sugar, vanilla, and cinnamon, and what else? Nutmeg.
A little nutmeg.
Vanilla and all that. Yeah, that's pretty much going to make a custard, sort of like a bread pudding type deal. But in my bread pudding, I put rum. And rum is yum. So we're just going to mix up the eggs, as my mom's doing. Break them up.
You could, if you don't want to use eggs, you could also use egg beaters.
Right.
I'm putting in about a tablespoon, a little bit more of regular granulated white sugar.
And this step that she's doing is sort of creaming. When you add eggs and sugar together, you kind of cream things.
And we're going to add a good amount of cinnamon, because you want that cinnamony flavor. Just a dab of nutmeg. You could also, for the fall time, you could put pumpkin spice in here, which would be delicious. Now I am not going to add to this mixture my maple syrup, but you definitely could. I'm going to drizzle some of my maple syrup over the top when it's done. But you could definitely add some into this mixture as well as putting extra. And I'm putting about a good 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Just love the smell of vanilla. Now the half and half, of course, makes it a little creamier, but you can definitely use regular milk in here. You don't have to use creamer, or you could use the half and half, half and half milk.
Yeah, like with my custard, I use what is it? I use half.
So this is a quart.
Yeah.
I probably used about half of it in here.
So that's 2 cups.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can use, if it is 2 cups, you can definitely use 1 cup, half and half, 1 cup of milk if you want. That's usually what I do with my custard.
It's done. So you can see how easy that was.
Yeah, very easy.
And what we're going to do is we're going to start dipping our bread and layering it in the pan. Okay, so we're going to dip this very quickly because we're not looking for it to become totally saturated.
Yeah, we pretty much just want a dipping so every bit gets some custard.
And you know, if you have smaller children around, this is great. They love to get their fingers in the mixture.
Now, one thing, you don't have to really butter or grease or even spray the bottom of the pan, because it'll come up pretty easily when you're done with the custard mix. So yeah, we're pretty much just gonna layer them.
Now, I was going to tell you that you could make the bread, use whatever you prefer. We just happen to have these, so we want to use them up. I have seen this done with
French bread.
French bread.
Baguettes.
Slice it. I have seen this done with challah bread, which is delicious as a French toast. I have seen this done with bagels.
Right. Yeah.
Where
bagels.
you slice your bagels, probably instead of not just slicing it in half, maybe almost getting it in 3s. You can use, you know, any flavor, raisin, cinnamon, whatever.
Yeah.
I have seen this done with like Texas toast, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can use all different types of breads. I mean, it's really up to you. Just try not to use anything that's really
you don't want anything that's really soft.
Yeah.
Because this will get so mushy. Because now remember, this is staying in the refrigerator overnight.
Right.
So that all of the flavors kind of meld together.
And you want to try and pack these in as close as you can, sort of like shingles, where you have them like this. But yeah, we'll be back once my mom finishes putting all the bread in the pan. And if you seem to have more, like it looks like we probably have more than enough for one pan, maybe we'll do another one. All right, welcome back, and here is the French toast casserole thing, and we also had so much we had to make a second one, so we made more.
We had
custard.
to make more of the custard.
Pretty much 2 eggs, a cup of half and half, half of everything. I'll have the original recipe in the video description. So, all right, so now we're gonna pour half the mixture because we have 2, so we want to make sure that we have enough.
So normally, as I mentioned, this recipe, when I first did it, I just would take the custard and kind of go in between, you know, every single one, and that became, as I said, very tedious, and I wanted to make sure that the whole piece of toast had some of that custard on it. So what I'm going to do now, instead of having to go, because we already dunked it, I'm just going to pour this over it, and then you're going to have some excess on the bottom.
Right. Now that's all right, because during the refrigeration process,
this is going to soak up.
Yeah, a lot of it.
You'll still have a little extra of liquid on the bottom, but
Yeah, so one reason that you want to try and do it like diagonal, like shingles, so that you can actually, it's easier later when you want to pull them up, but also
you want a little you want a little bit of space in between because it's going to soak up the liquid, as well as when we put the brown sugar on top, so it's going to make it all nice and crunchy.
Right.
So as you see, it's pretty easy. And then this goes into the refrigerator.
You're not going to top it yet?
I'm going to top it, but
right.
you know, this stays overnight.
Yeah.
And the drier the bread, the better, because it's going to soak up more of the liquid.
Yeah. And the nice part about this is the bread that we're using is fairly crunchy, so you'll get this nice crunch, and then the inside will be a little moist. It's good. It's good stuff.
So as you can see, there is the liquid there. Okay. And over half of that is going to be totally absorbed.
Yeah.
By tomorrow morning. Okay, now our brown sugar, you want it to be, you know, nice,
Crumbly.
so it's crumbly. And we're going to put some of that on there. You could put as much or as little as you want.
Yeah, I dare say that this step is almost optional, but if you want to get that nice French toasty, delicious caramelization, you kind of want to do this.
Yeah, and in the morning, because this is going to get soft, remember, this is going in your refrigerator, you could actually take a little bit more, I got brown sugar all over my hand. You could take a little bit more brown sugar before you pop it in the oven.
Right.
And so I'm just taking a little bit more cinnamon. And our maple syrup. Just drizzle a little bit.
Yeah, because if you use this, then you won't even need to put syrup on when you get it in the morning. But yeah, this is good stuff. This is really good stuff.
And then I take a couple of pats of butter. And thin slices. And just kind of put them a little strategically around the top, because that's going to melt in tomorrow morning when you have this in the oven.
Right.
So what you're going to want to do is have your oven 350, 375 nice and warmed up.
Yeah.
And
well, we'll show it to you in the morning. We'll show you what it should look like. I mean, what are we going to put on here? We're going to wrap in saran and some tin, or just tin?
Just tin foil is fine.
Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And we'll come back tomorrow morning, show you what it looks like, and then throw it in the oven. We'll also give you that time too.
Okay, here we are. We took this out of the refrigerator.
Yeah, it's been in there overnight.
And our butter is, some of it's stuck on the top. That's okay, just pull it off.
So the most important thing right now is that you have the oven preheated at 375.
And see, there's still a little bit of liquid in, but that's gonna it's gonna cook off.
Yeah.
When you put it in. Now, remember I said you could add some more brown sugar if you want to put. You could even add. Some people do nuts on top. That's great. So we're ready. We've got our coffee ready, we got our tea ready, so we're just waiting for this to get ready.
So we're going to throw it in our 375 degree oven. And how long are we going to throw it in there for?
At least a half hour, maybe a little more, maybe 45 minutes.
Alright, so we'll be back when it's all cooked.
Okay, here we are.
Look at
just
this.
took it out, see the liquid is all done.
Looks great. And now we are going to plate it.
You can see the crunchy part here.
Yeah, the nice crunchy. Now, Ma, what can you plate this with? We're serving it with what? You can serve it with
A fruit, fresh fruit, or like jellies or
whatever you'd have with
jams.
French toast, I guess.
Of course, you
Maple
could put
syrup.
whipped cream on it, maple syrup.
All right, so let's plate it. Yeah, the first, like a cake, the first one can always be the trickiest one to come out. So you can see it doesn't really stick. But this is what we're looking at right here. Look at that.
See?
And then you just pour some delicious...
And as you can see, it'll stick a little bit to the bottom, but it comes out pretty clean.
Yeah, nice. All right, so here's our French toast casserole. Uh-oh. There goes my syrup. Oh, well.
On your camera and the floor.
Oh, boy. Anyways, let's try a piece.
You can hear that crunch.
Nice and crunchy. And the middle is, on the bottom is nice and soft and very good. I'm just worried about my camera. Anyways, this is good. It's got all the flavors of French toast, but it's like a casserole, and it's very good. It's like, if you get the right bread, it's so crunchy and delicious, and that's like something that's really good. And it's kind of light too, because it's like little slices rather than big ones. So, I have been Pete, or Kenshin1913, along with
Mom.
And this has been another Cooking with Kenshin1913.
Enjoy and happy eating.